3 days ago, we set sail from Huatulco, headed north up the Pacific coast of Mexico. We are halfway through our 560 nautical mile sail to Barre de Navidad. With our engine oil pressure gauge acting up and no solution at sea, we are without the full use of our motor. Our only option is to keep on sailing hard to make miles.
Smile, smile, smile,
With a tropical storm forming behind us, we've got to keep moving. Our Spinnaker is hoisted, there's wind behind us, and we're flying along on day 3 at sea.
Wind's really starting to pick up. We're up to about 15 knots of true wind, and our autopilot cannot handle this with the Spinnaker up, so I'm gonna hand steer for a while. We're surfing down these waves at like 7, 8, 9 knots, making good speed, but getting to the point where we need to do something different.
Hi, babe. Oh, that's thunder. Yeah, so we're approaching about 15 knots of true wind behind us, and that's about my limit for the Spinnaker. And there's also some squalls building in the distance, so I'd say it's almost time to take that bad girl down. Although I do like the speed. We were actually able to get a couple more hours out of the Spinnaker. The storm just stayed over near land and hasn't touched us. But it's almost nightfall, so we're gonna go ahead and bring in the Spinnaker and put out our head sail. I'm just not comfortable flying our Spinnaker at night, especially in like squally conditions. And you can see like all around us we've got storms, so it's best if we just go ahead and take it down before nightfall. Pretty good day of sailing though. Hopefully we can sail through the night using our head sail. The least we have to motor, the better. We want to try to avoid motoring if we can. And the other thing is we want to get into Barre as soon as possible. And right now we're only able to motor at like between 4 and 5 knots, which doesn't give us that much speed. All right, I'm gonna go help Gary get the spinny down. Our normal procedure for taking down the Spinnaker is to release the tack line, then I ease the sheet while Gary pulls the snuffer sock down over the sail. This time though, things wouldn't go as planned. The sleeve got jammed about halfway down and wouldn't budge in either direction. Gary pulled in as much of the sail as he could by hand and shouted for me to come forward and release the halyard to drop the sail down onto the deck. During the moment of chaos, I forgot to put my life jacket on before coming on deck. This was a bad decision on my part. Lesson learned. Unfortunately, the halyard clutch was tightly jammed. Gary couldn't keep the Spinnaker maintained for too much longer with the wind wanting to rip it open, so he had to let it go back out. After resecuring the tack line, we got the halyard free and were able to lower the sail off the side of the boat and pull it on deck.
Out there.
Okay. All right, we got it.
All right.
Steady! You're going in the back! Crisis averted! Alright, so our line to our Spinnaker is caught underneath the boat on the prop. So Gary's gonna have to jump in and try to untangle it before the squall comes.
All right, I'm gonna need you to slow down somehow because I'm also gonna tie another line up to the bow.
Got Gotta work fast, babe. All right, I'm turning up into the wind. All right, Gary just went in. I am just keeping us into the wind to keep us slowed down as much as possible and wait for his instructions. And of course, it's starting to rain. What not to do? Yeah? All right, it's locked hard to port.
Okay, it's around the keel. So when we're pulling it,
Yeah?
it's getting caught on the back of the keel because it's like under the keel and stuck on the keel.
Okay,
So I'm gonna swim down, put it under the keel,
okay,
and swim up to the bow with it.
okay,
So grab the line here at the cleat, or
Okay.
on the other side or whatever, and get ready to meet me. Ready?
okay. I'm gonna have to grab the one from the other side because this one's underneath the cleat.
Tell the boobies to buzz off.
Boobies?
Go over with it.
For fuck's sake, booby! Gary's back on the boat. That's a win. All right, so I laid out a tarp down here. You can't see it, so that we can shove this Spinnaker down below. It's soaked and I don't want to get the forward cabin all wet, but we can't have it up on deck. All right, we're bringing it down. Ready? Well, we just got the head sail out, so we're back going the right direction, and now we're just gonna gather ourselves and get the cockpit back in order. Just started my watch. It's lovely conditions.
It's only blowing 20 knots. And raining a lot.
We just came down to take a little break. I turned on the autopilot. Seems to be holding course, so that's good. But I needed to get dry and warm up a bit. I feel like that noise is our autopilot. All right, it is a little after midnight and I just finished with my first night watch. It was squally and it wasn't much fun, but I made it through it and it stopped raining now. And we just put the rest of our head sail out. We were just flying with our staysail for a bit while the winds were so high. It was like plus 20, 25 knots. So anyway, winds are back down to about 15 knots and we have our head sail out. And we're just trying to maintain at least 5 knots throughout the night. Because the quicker we get there, the safer we'll be. It's just running from the storm. But anyway, I'm going to bed for a couple hours. See you guys later. It's 4 a.m. and it's my watch now. Just woke up and Gary's gonna make us cheeseburgers. Because last night we never had dinner. Well, this things got a bit chaotic with that Spinnaker and then the squalls. So it's time for dinner now.
I'm literally just microwaving meat and putting it on bread with ketchup. Do you want something?
No, that's all I want.
Okay.
By making burgers, I just meant he had to microwave them. So they're already made.
You just want one slice of bread.
I just want one slice of bread and a meat patty. It's the morning of day 4, by the way. We have 255 miles to go.
It's not day 4.
What day is it?
It's day 3. This is only the second night, which makes this day 3.
No, what?
This is our second night at sea, which makes this day 3.
No, this is our 3rd night at sea.
No.
Yes, it is. Wednesday night, Thursday night. Today's Friday. Friday night.
That makes it day 3. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. That's 3 days.
I'm saying right now it's Saturday morning.
Oh, it is? Well, that would make it the 4th day then.
Yeah. Gary's lost his mind. This happens around day 4. It's okay. It is around 6:30 a.m. and it's absolutely beautiful out right now. It is so calm out here. And we're only doing about 3 knots. I'm debating on firing up the motor. So we only have like 5 knots of wind, so the sail is barely able to stay full. But I'm just kind of enjoying this peace and quiet, and the sea stay is just perfect. It's amazing how quickly it changes out here and how fast the conditions change. But I know that 3 knots isn't going to get us into Barre de Navidad in time. So, I don't know. I think I'm going to wait just a little bit and see if the wind fills in at all before firing up the motor. We could use a little bit of a charge though. We've been sailing for the past, I guess it's been like 36 hours now, so that's good. But our batteries are getting a bit low. We're only about 5 miles off the coast right now, and the sun over the mountains is really cool looking. It's kind of like foggy out, so it's a really cool look. Gary is sleeping, and I'm glad he's able to get some rest because yesterday was a lot. Really enjoy my morning watches because I'm typically greeted with a beautiful sunrise, and there's something about the sun coming up over the ocean after a long night of sailing that is refreshing. But it's also just like my quiet time, and I look forward to it really. But I'm just thinking about yesterday and the situation with the Spinnaker, and just trying to figure out like what we could have done different and how we could have made the situation better. Yesterday after it happened, we took some time just to like regroup and talk about it. And yeah, I mean, I think we handled it as best we knew how to. We knew we would run into a situation with the Spinnaker at some point, and it just so happened that yesterday was that moment. Yeah, I mean, it was blowing like 15 to 17 knots of true wind. So we had like apparent wind of 12 knots. I don't think that was too much wind. It shouldn't have been. But once the furling line slipped out of Gary's hand, like we had really just lost control of the Spinnaker. And then when we dropped it in the water, that was like, I think that was the right thing to do. But it was just unfortunate that the line got caught under our keel then, and also that a squall was coming. But yeah, I haven't really lost confidence in the Spinnaker. I think it helped just like for me to see what happens when something goes wrong with the spinning. But yeah, it just goes to show you that one day things can be absolutely beautiful, and the next day or the next moment even, things can just get out of control, and we're just vulnerable out here and things can happen. But I think Gary and I have become pretty good at communicating with each other and trying to stay calm in situations like that. So I think we did okay. I don't know. We did the best we knew how, and that's what matters. But I'm looking forward to a peaceful day of sailing. Hopefully the wind fills in a little bit. I would like to make some miles towards Barre.
Yahtzee is over, and who won?
Gary won.
Yes!
Gary just beat me in a game of Yahtzee. We haven't played a game on board in a long time, so that was fun. The conditions out here are really nice. Although we could use a little bit more wind. We only have about 9-ish knots on the beam, so we have our headsail out and we're doing about 4 knots, which is fine. We made up quite a few miles yesterday, so right now we just need to average 4 knots to make it to Barre by Monday. So we're looking pretty good in that aspect. And we untangled our Spinnaker from the mess yesterday, dried it all out, and maybe we'll fly it later if the winds are right. We'll see. It'll be good to get it back up after our chaos.
One of the things we deal with out here, and one of the reasons that we have people, either me or Brooke, on watch all the time, is the shipping traffic. So right now our AIS alarms are going off like crazy because there's a ship over here coming up behind us, and our AIS was showing a collision or a very close approach. If it looks like we're gonna get close at all, I'm gonna give them a call on the VHF and just make sure we figure out how to avoid each other. Okay, I just saw them make a pretty hard turn to port, so it looks like they're gonna pass us on the port side, and I won't need to call them because they definitely recognized us. They just made like a 10-degree change in course. But always a little nerve-wracking out here when you see a big ship like that chasing you down. Well, they just passed us about a half mile off to our port side, so worries averted. Now I can go back to just listening to my audiobook and relaxing. The sailing is really nice right now. Brooke's down below having a little afternoon nap, and I'm just enjoying the peaceful conditions. I'm sure it'll get hectic again tonight with thunderstorms and squalls and heavy winds and rain. We've had it every night so far, so we try to get our rest in during the day when it's nice. We just had dinner and we're sitting on the bow watching the sun go down and watching the pretty colors.
We never do this, but it is so calm out. It's really nice conditions. And we're getting ready for our night watches.
Hopefully it's a little easier night tonight than the last 3. I think this is our 4th night at sea on this trip.
Yeah, it doesn't look squally around us like it has the previous nights, so we're hoping for calm weather. Had a squall come out of nowhere, and we had full main up, so we just reefed the main. And right now it's blowing like 30 knots. There's lightning in the distance. We don't have any rain, just wind. So we're heaved to, and we're just gonna ride it out. Today's Sunday morning, and we aren't supposed to see anything from the hurricane until tomorrow, so I don't know if this is outer bands of the hurricane or just a squall that's popped up on us.
Calm now. Well, relatively calm.
So I decided to come down and try to make breakfast now that it's calmed down a bit. And I come in the galley and I look on the floor, and our hand soap dispenser must have fallen off the cabinet or the counter, and now there's slippery soap all over the galley floor. Yay! So I guess I'm gonna have to clean that up first. Well, the pancakes were a fail. They don't look great, but they still taste like pancakes, so they'll have to do.
Pancake.
And I'm gonna lay down and get some rest before my next watch. It is clearing up out there. The sun's starting to come out, so that's good. And we're making miles. We're doing 5 knots, and we have about 125 miles to go. It's noon and I woke up from my nap, and the conditions are much different than they were last night, 12 hours ago. But we have wind right on the nose, about 18 knots of it. But One Life seems to be handling it pretty good. We have full main up. It seems to be keeping us pretty centered, and we're just moving along. We're doing about 5 to 6 knots, and right now we have under 100 miles to go. So that is awesome. And at this rate, we will be there tomorrow morning. But I'm gonna listen to a podcast and relax. We have 78 miles to go, and we should be there in the morning.
We're almost there. We've been on the boat for, I think, 9 days straight now since we left Chiapas, so we're pretty eager to get off and go get some Mexican food.
Yeah, definitely can't wait to have a margarita and have some good food. And just touch dry land, or put our feet on stable ground for a bit. Anyway, let me show you these conditions.
We don't normally use our oven while sailing just because it's so difficult, but I'm feeling kind of good today, and it's the last day of our long passage, so I'm gonna try to make a pizza. I don't know how well this is gonna go, but I'm gonna give it my best shot. The dough is made. Hopefully I did it right. Now I've got to wait like an hour for it to rise, and then we'll try to fire up the oven and cook a pizza. All right, the masterpiece is done. It is just time to put it in the oven. It looks good. I'm not sure that the dough's right, but we'll see what happens. Whatever comes out of the oven, we'll eat. Start the timer. Pizza's done. Just gotta let it cool.
Pizza time! I'm so excited. We just finished our pizza and the wind is dying on us. So we're bringing in a sail. We are going into night number 5, and we just pulled in our head sail. We're motoring because we have 3 knots on the nose, and we're hoping for a peaceful night and an arrival in Barre in the morning. It is another morning here, and we are 3 miles outside the breakwater to the entrance to the lagoon here. So we're just bobbing around until the sun comes up, and then we will make our way into the channel. It was a really easy evening, no squalls, and I am happy to almost be anchored. So right now I'm just waiting for a little bit more light before we start entering the channel. But it was a quiet night. Unfortunately, we motored most of the night. There's still 0 wind. But that's okay. We're happy to be here and finally explore someplace new. We've not really done much since we've been here in Mexico. So anyway, looking forward to getting the anchor dropped. I think overall we had a really nice passage. We have the issue with our oil pressure, and we had the Spinnaker chaos. But you know, we had a few squalls, but that was about it. So I think we picked a good weather window. And Gary just woke up, so let's get anchored. The feeling of pulling into a new harbor after so long at sea is nearly indescribable. The exhaustion disappears and a huge sensation of relief comes over us. This passage was the second longest we have ever accomplished, and we were stoked to be motoring into the safety of the Barre de Navidad lagoon.
Well, 6 days, 5 nights, and 560 nautical miles later, and the anchor is down. We're pretty excited. This is Nice to be anchored and be able to get some rest now. Brick's down below making us some breakfast, and I'm starting to clean up things on deck. The boat is a total mess, of course, but it's all right. We've got lots of time, and we're excited to explore Barre de Navidad. Breakfast was right on point. Time to get some sleep. Catch you guys next time.